Allow me to be frank. I'm incredibly worried about Fallout. I love the games, but I'm worried about the show. And despite the fact that there were some very impressive visuals in the latest trailer, there's a lot of negative signs going in. And we already know that there's going to be a lot of identitarian politics pushed into this because of the two people that are primarily involved and the way that everybody's talking about it. So I think Fallout may be a flop. That would be a real disappointment. All right, folks, let's jump into that story. But first, a little reminder, you can check out my merchandise at beachpunk.us and pick yourself up a hat or a mug or a water bottle or board shorts or sandals. There's all kinds of stuff that you can pick up over there. And we have some new hats coming out and some very specific meetup merchandise that'll be available shortly. On that note, let's move on. Let's see if we can get Punk Waddle to exit out of here and we can get to the video. There we go. So, Fallout a flop. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in the background here. There's a lot of articles that have come out over the course of the last few months trying to point everybody in the right direction. And supposedly, the series came about because of a conversation about 5 years ago, a lunch between Jonathan Nolan and Todd Howard and their handshake deal. And it turned into what is a very ambitious and seemingly beautiful series. The problem is the 8 to 10 episode series, and I can't remember if it's 8 or 10 episodes. I think it's maybe 8. But let's say this short series, if it's going to honor the games in a way that'll be acceptable to the audience. Now, of course, we've already seen great images of the Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins, who really is kind of your guide through the show. This is the person that introduces you to the world. And of course, our heroine, because that's what this show is all about, Lucy, is out there in the world, leaving the vault. So it basically has its roots stuck in Fallout 3, which is a game that reportedly Jonathan Nolan lost a year of his life to. In other words, he played it. And that the series has a new storyline in the Fallout universe and seems to take place on the coast, at least from a lot of what we've seen in the trailer. It's incredibly expensive to produce, and it's ambitious. It's going to come from the husband-wife duo of Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, husband-wife team there, that gave you all of the disaster that was the last few seasons of Westworld. It was so bad that it actually got the show cut short, and I don't want that to happen to another property that I love. And the origin story aside, if this comes from a place of love, it could be very, very good. They're talking about the right things. They're talking about the dystopia that's created on the outside versus the somewhat utopic living inside the vault. And I believe it's Vault 33 in this case. But is it going to be in line with what fans expect? Well, there's some conversation around that we're going to get to in a second. But for the most part, a lot of the right things were being said. Like Fallout TV show is almost like Fallout 5. And this is from Jonathan Nolan's mouth saying, I don't want to sound presumptuous, but it's just a non-interactive version of Fallout, right? It's a good question. And at least that's what Nolan told Total Film. And he was very excited about this. I'm glad. But the series debuts on April 12th, 2024 on Amazon Prime. And from my understanding, it releases all at the same time. The binge model is hit and miss. Oftentimes, services will release things all at once because they know it's not the best. It's not being done on a week in, week out basis like some of their more successful things like Reacher. You're dropping it all at once. It makes me very nervous. It's also incredibly expensive. You would think they'd try to roll this out and keep people engaged since they're now selling ads to everybody over on Amazon Prime. But we'll have to take a look. And the other problem is that as an adaptation from the game, which is where most movies are going to come from, I think, for a while, I don't know that he took away the right ideas. So he's making the series he wants as a fan of the games. Be careful in how you read into that, because we've got one more article after this one that's going to explain why I'm worried. You have 4 people involved in running this. Obviously, Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy, which is fine. But then you mix in 2 more showrunners, and then we have a whole other problem. Again, 8 seasons, or excuse me, 8 episodes in the season, and I don't know that you'll get another one. I don't know that it's set up to have a sequel. I don't know that anybody's going to want one. But you'll be able to see the entire thing on April 11th, and with I really don't want to repeat myself too much. I found it interesting that Jonathan Nolan does break out in this particular interview that Fallout 3 ate a year of his life, and he's getting a chance for the second time in his career to take something that you love and get a chance to play in that universe and create your own version of that universe. The first go around for me was Batman, and this time with Fallout. Interesting, considering that you didn't mention Westworld, which would have been a dream project for me. But hey, just me. So let's get to why I'm worried. Because Fallout, the TV series, it aims to please no one. This is the heart of the matter. One of the executive producers from the series knows how complicated it is to please all fans, and he has his own perspective. At least that's how they're trying to craft around that quote. So before the release of the trailer early this morning, because this was obviously a few days ago, Mara Station had the opportunity to attend a press event with producers and actors who revealed some of the important pieces of this story and its characters. Among questions asked by the attendees, they asked about the balance of satisfying the fans as well as creating something that attracts new audiences, to which Jonathan Nolan responded or commented, "It's kind of a fool's errand. I don't think you can really set out to please the fans of anything or please anyone other than yourself." Oh my goodness, the narcissism. I think you have to come into this trying to make the show that you want to make and trusting that as fans of the game, we would find the pieces that were essential to us and the games to try to do the best version of those that we can. Remember how many times we've heard something similar to this spouted off by a director or a producer, somebody that's heavily involved with creating something that's supposed to satisfy the people that put them in the position in the first place to make it into this form of entertainment? It doesn't usually end well. You usually end up with something like Terminator Dark Fate, or the latest Charlie's Angels disaster, or perhaps a film that nobody really wanted, Madam Web, because nobody really knew what that was going to be about, or something even worse, The Marvels. When you go out there to make something for yourself, you need to remember one thing. You're making it for a consumer, a customer. You're making it for somebody that is an investment in it. And somebody handed over the responsibility of taking care of that investment and to create something lovingly that will satisfy the consumer, the customer, you and I. When I see language like this, I get upset. I get concerned. I get worried. Anyway, we'll continue on. He says, I think it's kind of a fool's errand to try and figure out how to make people happy. That's your only job, Mr. Nolan. The inferior Nolan, in my opinion. But that's your only job. And I've already been through this rodeo with you on Westworld. After almost a perfect season of television in the first season of Westworld, you delivered hard-boiled garbage. You delivered some of the worst television ever. Nonlinear storytelling and a whole lot of girl boss. This film's going to have plenty, this show is going to have plenty of girl boss in it. Not sure I'm excited for that. So he just went out and said, and that way you're going to make yourself happy, and I've made myself very happy with the show. What I find also fascinating here is he's taking the lead on these conversations, whereas they pushed Lisa Joy out in front for the last few seasons of Westworld. So the question is this led by a masculine energy or a feminine energy? Because I would suggest that even when you play as a female in the Fallout games, specifically in Fallout 4, there's still a lot of masculine energy there. Like I said, everything looks great. I just don't know that it's going to feel great. Regardless, prior to his comments, Jonathan Nolan commented of his love for the franchise and how it almost derailed his career. And he talked about the fact that he just kind of allowed it to take over his entire life. He's like, it's so ludicrously playable and fun. No, I mean, seriously, the games were just incredible. At least on that, we can agree. I'm curious what you think, though. We've got a lot of movie news that's coming up and things that were just announced, and we'll have another video coming out here soon about the new Mario film that has been promised and will be delivered, so we will get a sequel there. But what do you think? Are you excited to see Fallout the TV series? Do you have lowered expectations now, having a little more information of the thought process behind the guy that actually got the deal done? I know I do. I'm very worried. Do you think you're going to enjoy this? Will you watch it? Or do you even have Amazon Prime? Good questions all. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And, as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya.